For the 5th year celebrations of Prasa's birthday. You know, they started in March of 20th, 2009. That's when the Passenger Rail Agency of South Africa was established to manage wholeheartedly the transport system in South Africa. And it was really focused on making the commuter experience so much more enjoyable. We're coming to you from a venue that sees 220,000 people in transit every day. Wrap your mind around that number. Now, I'm joined now by the Deputy Minister of Transport, Sindisiwe Chikunga. Deputy Minister, good morning and welcome.
Good morning and good morning to your viewers.
Okay, we're here for a celebration in part. We're here to reflect a little bit over the last 5 years of Prasa's existence. Please talk to me about just where transport is finding itself right now. What are the steps we're putting in place to make sure that we do enhance that commuter experience?
I think first I must start by saying happy birthday, Prasa, and halala, Prasa, halala. It's been 5 years of hard work. In fact, it was on the 20th of March 2009 when the former Minister of Transport, Honorable Jeff Radebe, formally established Prasa. And since then, it has been planning, it has been implementation, it has been evaluating ourselves, it has been the construction of the world-class, state-of-the-art stations like this one, like the Cape Town one, like the Durban one. It has been the refurbishment and renovation of our coaches. And it's been a massive project that we see here today, hence we actually are celebrating.
There are two issues we can touch on very quickly. One is government's massive investment at the moment to refurbish, and you've highlighted that. We're talking about billions of rands that's been injected into the local commuter transport industry, which will see job creation. We're talking around about 30,000 new jobs potentially as we move towards a more integrated transport system. Where are we in that process at the moment?
In fact, we already have gone out on tender. We already have appointed a contractor. We're just waiting for a few issues to finalize that. Then we start. In fact, we already have identified a site where we're going to open a company where we will actually be constructing our own coaches and so on. So we're not going to go overseas to buy our coaches. We're going to make them here, manufacture them here in South Africa. And this is just a history on its own because we actually are making history. And the government is there. In fact, I must mention the fact that Prasa is an entity for the Department of Transport. They are our implementing arm. We are the policy department, they implement our policy. And that is why, as the shareholder, we are here to say, well done, our implementing arm.
Deputy Minister, we do have serious problems, though, within the transportation industry. We have seen commuters burning coaches at one point. We still have a continuous backlog in terms of transport issues. People have talked about lack of communication when it comes to service delivery strikes around this particular sector. How are we going to sort out those issues?
I think you're right when you say we're not communicating enough, because many of our achievements are not known by the people. I think we have got to tell people of South Africa that when they ban our coaches, when they steal our cables, they're taking us back. And we want to move forward. We actually want to move South Africa forward, and we are doing that. It's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. It's been years of no investment in, for instance, rail services in South Africa. In fact, the de Villiers report recommended to the then SARCC that they should reduce their investment in rail services from 6 billion rand to 1.4 billion rand to 666 billion rand, and even 664 million rand to even 500 million rand. That had impact on rail services. Coupled with that was the fact that they also said we must deregulate the transportation of goods on the roads, which therefore meant that any goods could be transported on the roads, anything, before which thing would not be transported on our roads. That had direct impact on our rail services. But we are saying today, we are there now. We are investing billions of rands, as you have said, or to improve and to renovate our rail services. And we request our people in South Africa just to be patient with that. It's not going to happen overnight, but we're getting there.
Deputy Minister, thank you very much for joining me. That, of course, is the Deputy Minister of Transport, Sindisiwe Chikunga, joining me to talk about, and of course, wishing Prasa a happy 50th celebration, a happy birthday, in actual fact. Let me quickly call the CEO of Prasa, Lucky Mutana, who's standing behind me. Deputy Minister, thank you very much. Mr. Mutana, good morning. How are you doing, sir?
Good morning, bro. How are you?
Happy birthday, by the way.
Thanks very much. It's an exciting, proud moment, not only for Prasa, but for the transport sector and for our country as a whole.
There were moments in the presentation where we looked back at where we've come from a transportation perspective, where we are going. And I must say, it looks like it's a very bright future indeed if everything comes off as planned.
Well, the establishment of Prasa was to signify a break with the past, to make sure that we create a modern and decent public transport for all South Africans. And I think we're on course. If you look, our signaling is under construction, the new modern signaling system. We're in the process of buying new trains. I think you can see this facility here. Everyone comes here, thousands of people every morning and every afternoon pass through this station, over 200,000 people. So we're creating modern station. So we want to create a type of transport system which will meet the needs of all people, which will make sure that people travel in comfort, there's reliability. And I think Prasa was created 5 years ago to solve all these problems. And I think we're on course in doing that, exactly that.
One of the issues you mentioned is reliability, and that's something that has come up as a recurring theme over the last couple of years. What are some of the real-time challenges that the organization is facing?
Well, the first major one, of course, is the fact that we're dealing with old, obsolete trains and infrastructure. And I think that every rail commuter, when I go to stations, people confront me and say, these trains can get us to work on time. And we know that is the number one problem. The new trains will solve that problem. So it will have a major economic impact. It is their number one problem. I was on the trains last week from in the Western Cape. People raised that. Number one, make sure that trains don't break down. And we know that as long as we are using all trains, the breakdown of trains will become something that will stay with us for many years. So we are hoping that with the new investment, it will be a thing of the past. Secondly, people say we want to travel in comfort, not overcrowding. And I think that is something that we have to address. The third most important issue for people is security. Women, children say to us, we want to get into the trains, but we want to make sure that security is right. So personal security is coming up as a major issue. So those are the issues that our plan seeks to address in the short term.
Very quickly, once the planes the coaches are here, where will we see them first? Where's the rollout process going to be rolled out first?
Well, look, we have identified the first corridor here in Gauteng that will target Mabopane into Pretoria, Germiston, Park Station and into Naledi. That is one of the most important corridor for Gauteng, and I think that even the provincial government is working with us in their own master plan. That's the corridor they're focusing. In the Cape, we've got a central line which services both Michel's Plain and Kailicha, Philippine to town. That is very important for us. And of course for KZN, Kwamashu, Umlazi corridors are very important. So we'll focus on high volume corridors because of course we're not going to get the trains arriving at the same time. They're going to be deployed over a period of time, and therefore we need to manage that, focusing where they'll have the highest impact and change the lives of people, because people want to see visible change. And I think we want to partner with community structures to make sure that we change the travel experience of our own people, that we ensure that public transport come first and that private cars come after that. That is very important. And we can do that with a modern commuter rail system that we are creating as Prasa.
So we're going to leave it there, but congratulations once again on your 5th year.
Thank you.
I don't know how to say. Should I say happy birthday?
Happy birthday.
Well, happy birthday.
High five, Prasa.
High five, Prasa. We're going to leave it there. CEO of Prasa, Lucky Mutana, talking to us about what's happening here today. Of course, it is their celebration. 5 years in existence, was established in March of 2009. And I'm sure it's debatable whether they have met their targets. I'm sure we can talk about reliability and all those issues. For now, we are broadcasting from here. We go back to the studio to Ayanda Ali Pate. From us, it's a wrap here.